Alright, so welcome to part 2 of the pond build. We're well and truly underway now. I've started with the digging, we've started clearing out the earth so we can get this concrete collar poured in, and I thought I'd just go into a bit of detail about a few of the bits of the kit that have turned up, and also the plans for the pond, because I was a little bit vague in the last video, but that was still because I was trying to work things out in my head, work out how much space I had, and what options for me for the money I've got available would be the best bang for my buck, really. So first off, let's have a little chat about the pond. It's going to be just over 4 metres by just over 2 metres by the time it's got the insulation in on there. And I know the best way to build a pond is solid concrete base, block all the way up, fiberglass it, but that is just going to be pushing my budget too far really to be doing that. I know people say, well, save a little longer, you know, take your time. But for me, I'm already spending quite a bit on this pond, and that is about where my limit of what I'm willing to spend is at the moment. So it's going to be a concrete footings around the outside of the pond, just underground level, and it's going to be concrete blocked up from that. And we're going to be digging down, not very far below the concrete collar, only a foot or two, just to get that 5 foot depth that we're looking for. And then it's going to be insulated and a box welded liner. So I've seen a few people doing similar kind of thing with sleepers and a couple of concrete ones the same, and for me, for the money, it's going to give me the best results for what I want, because you know, in 5 or 10 years time, if I need a new liner, I could start to think then maybe, you know, I could swap it out for fiberglass in the whole thing, concrete it out. But for now, for what I'm looking for, I think that's going to give me the best bang for the buck. I'm going to go for a 4-inch bottom drain in the bottom, and I've got that from JBR Plastics. I did look at some of the cheaper options that are about. I didn't really fancy an aerated bottom drain with the window and backy shower and all that already disturbing the surface. So I've gone with a standard bottom drain. They do an aerated version as well. And I wanted a proper nice PVC bottom drain, unlike some of the other cheaper standard bottom drains on the market. So it was a little bit more money, but this is it here, and I think it's a real nice looking solid bit of kit. As I say, it's just standard 4-inch line going out, and inside you've just got the little pipe that will stand up off the middle, and then it'll just sit above the top like that. And the liner, we've got the liner cover as well inside here, all included in it. Yeah, it looks really good. I've seen a few mixed reviews about JBR Plastics on some of their stuff, but this looks absolutely watertight and rock solid, so yeah, hopefully that's going to do the job for what we want. And then the other bit of kit I got from them was one of their big built-in wall skimmers. Lid's going to fall off as we pick that up, so still got the protective cover on at the moment, but this looks an absolutely brilliant bit of kit. I went with a 2-inch line coming out of it, and I'm kind of already regretting that decision, in that I kind of wish I went for a 3-inch line, because the plan is going to be to start with just drawing straight from this and smashing it straight over a backy shower, basically as fast as this will pull through with a very pump. So we'll see what flow rate we get in there, but it looks really nice, really solid. It's got a really secure plastic basket on the inside as well. I've seen a few people saying they've had to open up the holes on some of these little baskets in here just to get the flow rate through and the draw they want, because it can be a bit restrictive. And I also had this one made up with an overflow pipe, so I can set this now and I'll be able to have a trickle in and trickle out using this going straight into the drainage in the filter house. So yeah, that's the plan so far. Really impressed with it. Obviously we'll have to see what it's like when we set it up. I did see a couple of people say that some of the pipe fittings themselves had been warped during the plastic welding process, but I've offered up a couple of pipes to the bottom of these, and they seem to be absolutely fine on this version. So yeah, that's really good. Everything's looking nice, starting to get excited. As I say, I've done the dig. We'll have a little look out there in a minute. I'll show you how far we've got and what the plan is next. But with filtration, I've had a little look around. I've had a look at some drum filters from my local dealer and around online and various videos. That would be the ideal way to go, but for the flow rate I'm going to need from the bottom drain and off the skimmer, if I was going to filter it through the drum, I'd need a serious bit of kit which is out of my price range to get that real high flow rate over the backy shower that I'm going to be looking for. So I'm going to start with, I'll have that 4-inch bottom drain coming up into the filter house, gravity fed, and I'm looking down at the moment the second hand Nexus 300 route. There doesn't seem to be loads of difference between the 300 and the 320. I've heard the 310 had a couple of problems, but I'm not sure how true that actually is. And you can now get upgrade kits to turn the 300 into a 320 as well if I decide to in the future, and their price at the moment, you can pick them up relatively cheaply second hand, so, and some of them look as good as new. They barely look like they've been used, some of them. They clean up really well, and there's no moving parts in the Nexus, so they can't really go too wrong, and I think that's going to be a good place for me to start with. Fairly low maintenance, fairly easy to clean. I don't mind getting out there and cleaning and doing a bit out there, because I've got a bay filter at the moment which you have to clean constantly, so that doesn't really bother me. And I think that'll be the best bet. And then that'll obviously go through a 110 UV, and maybe it'll be 2 returns on the pond to start with from that split. So maybe one will go through the UV and maybe one will go for a Tempest just to polish that water a bit as well. So yeah, that's the plan at the moment. Things may well change because I haven't brought those yet. There seems to be a fair few about online and various places to buy second hand, so I'm not going to rush into that just yet. We'll wait till we start fitting the bottom drain and getting the pipe work set, just to make sure that that is the way I'm going to go. So yeah, that's it for now. I'll take you outside in a second. We'll just have a look at how far I've got with the dig, and yeah, we'll go from there. Alright, so now we're outside. I thought I'd just give you a little tour of how far we've got so far with the digging. We're pretty much there now, as I'll show you in a minute, but I've just stopped for the time being as I've pretty much run out of space of where this soil's going, and I've got another bit of side ground that's currently gravel that I'm turning into grass, and I've got a mate coming to get some of that gravel hopefully at the weekend, and then I can sprinkle the last bit of the soil for that section over there once that's gone. So we've dug down a good 1.5 feet probably, but the collar's not going to be that deep. It's going to be about 7 inches deep, but I wanted enough space that it would be well below ground level so it looks nice and neat, blocks up from the ground, and it does slope quite funnily, this garden. So I had to dig fairly deep at one end. I've gone around with a spirit level just to make sure things are secure. So yeah, the next stage will be building up a wooden collar that I can pour the concrete against. So and then that'll be able to check everything's nice and level and deep. So that'll be happening probably at the weekend. Well, I've got work the next couple of days. So if I spin you around now, we'll just have a look. It looks a bit of a mess, I'm afraid, but there we are. As you can see, we've got the wheelbarrow still in the middle and the little bridge because I stupidly started on this edge. So if I'd have started on the other side, I could have dug it all out without having to worry about building myself a little bridge. So this is the end up here where I still haven't fully dug it out, and then if we go down here you can see how far we've dug out all the way down to get a nice even amount all the way along. So we've done all 3 sides now. Bit of funny light, I'm afraid, going all the way down, and yeah, that's going to be filled with a wooden collar to start with, and then we're going to pour the concrete in to give that a really solid foundation around both of these walls. Yeah, I think it's going to look really nice. Still a long way to go, but there we go, you've got to make a start somewhere. But the fish currently seem to be doing all right. They're getting 1 feed a day when the temperature's warm enough. The water seems to be staying fairly good at the moment, so we'll spin you around and have a little look at them at the moment. So chuck a little bit of food in. They're currently getting some wheat germ. They're coming up pretty quickly for it. Other than when I stand there pointing the camera at them, they're not too keen. They don't like it at the moment if I'm stood around staring at them. But they're still a little slow, but they're all looking really good. Actually, the water quality is really good at the moment. Gosh, he's looking great. I love that fish. A couple of little humies, I think they're called, on the Deutz Karashigoi. But there we go, it's just what it is. Hard water and all that's not really helped that situation. But yeah, they're looking good. They're certainly going to be liking their new home once we finally get round to finishing it off. The other thing behind the pond, you'll start to see load of pallets of concrete blocks have started to turn up. I had to carry them, you see behind me, down to where my van is, maybe you might be able to see that. They were dropped off just up the driveway from that to carry every block round individually to stack them up here out of the way, so that wasn't fun. Along with having to move a couple of tons of ballast that was dropped off at the same time, shoveling it out of the bag, moving the bags and then shoveling it back into the bags. But there we go. If you're doing it all yourself and you haven't really got the tools other than doing it by hand, it's a lot of manual labour, but I'm not afraid of a bit of hard work every now and then in my life. So yeah, so as we'll have a little look, I'll just wander you around to the conservatory and we'll have a little look at the view if it will work from inside. So this is the plan. If we spin you around, have a look outside through the window. And there you go. We open this up. You can see the pond is going to be just here. So when I'm sat in the conservatory, I'll just be able to look out and look at the fish swimming around there, even if the weather's awful outside. So yeah, that's about it for now. Thanks for watching. I hope you're enjoying this series so far. I'll try and cut in a couple of clips and that throughout this, make it a bit more interesting to the digging and various things. And yeah, hopefully when we start doing the concreting and laying the blocks, there'll be plenty of footage to show you there as well. So yeah, leave the comments down below, let me know what I'm doing wrong, because I'm sure there's plenty of it. As I say, I don't really know what I'm doing other than researching and watching all you guys on YouTube as well. So yeah, thank you very much. Click like and subscribe, and I'll catch you in the next part.